that certain topics of discussion may not be comfortable for all listeners. Certain viewpoints may not reflect those of our partners, sponsors, affiliates, our hosts, or that of our guests. We would like to encourage everybody to keep a respectful and open climate of discussion for all topics, no matter how disturbing they may be. So viewer discretion is advised.
It does not matter where you stand, nor what it is you feel is grand. Magic is all around. Magic is never gone, and it is more than you will ever know. Entrust us, entrust her, for here you will find that the lost magics have never disappeared.
Hello guys and welcome to our Monday show. I just want to say first, I'm very sorry for not being able to do the show on Friday. I was not feeling very well, but we are here today to continue that show and to bring the experiments to do with alien abductees. So the experiments and stuff that they would have after they have gone through this tragic or this overpowering experience. But also I'm just going to put a little bit in there, just a little bit that I wrote down, just saying about the sort of experiments that the aliens are supposed to do on the abductees also. So hopefully tonight's show is going to be really awesome. But before I start that, I would like to give a big shout out to the Bald and Bonkers boys, to Parapost, to DNTV, to PD Global, to all of our amazing networks that are streaming us out to all platforms. Without you guys, we would not be able to do this. And obviously to all of our amazing fam that come and support us every day in our chats and in our shows. We love you all and appreciate you all. And thank you for tuning in. So tonight we are here with the Lost Magics, which is in association with Bald and Bonkers and all of the other networks. And as I said, we're going to be talking about the experiments behind abductees when they have to go to medical professionals to get help. Also talking, as I said, a little bit about what the aliens are supposed to do in testing on humans when they're abducted by them. And also, I want to just specify that obviously with this side of stuff, like the regression of stuff like that, I'm not really that familiar on that side of the topic. I know bits through Dakota and through bits that I've seen, but I'm not very familiar on this side of stuff. So I have done my research and I am actually going to be reading from a column that is to do with a doctor that works in regression and works in the hypnotherapy as well. And just giving out that information to you guys, because I do feel that when we're doing our work and stuff, there's always going to be topics that we're not so familiar with and we're not so up on. So there is nothing wrong with doing your research and doing your studying and educating people that way. It just shows that that work's getting out there properly. So I'm not going to leave you waiting anymore. And hello to everybody in the room. Just let me shout out everyone that's in the room so far. So we've got Dobby's sister, we've got Chris from Bald and Bonkers, and hello to anybody else that is watching. I ask please share this out so that everybody knows that I am on. I'm just doing that quickly myself again. I hope that you are having a good evening and had a pleasant day. Sending you lots of love and blessings. Right, so we've got 5 people in the room. Hello, how are you, sister? I hope that you're okay. Right, so what I'm going to do is start reading to you the stuff that I got. So we're going to be talking about regression therapy and hypnotherapy, okay? Now, as you know, guys, that when abductees are abducted by aliens and they have these experiments done on them, 9 times out of 10, a lot of the abductees will explain that when they go and have these therapies and they have this experiment done on them by the aliens, it would be such things as taking samples of tissue, taking blood, taking readings from the brain. For some, it may be an even more deeper explanation to why they're being abducted. It could be that they've got some sort of link to the alien life form that is around them. So specifically, they abduct these beings that are of this world and that world, so that they can enhance them with the information and the way, so that they can continue to do what they need to do here on Earth. Some of these can be to do with like hybrid and all of these sort of things. So a lot of the abductees that we've come across and we've read up about, they always say about certain things that happen to them while they've been abducted. So they feel sharp objects being put into their body. Some of them have come away from that and found that they've got certain objects in their body that can't be explained. And some of them will explain that they just know that they feel different, like they've had either internal examinations and they've had physical outside examinations. And a lot of this, I believe, is that these beings, these aliens, ETs, extraterrestrials, whatever you like to call them, that they do these experiments on you because they're trying to figure out our source plan. I believe that they're trying to change our way that we are. Okay, and they do these certain things to be able to take samples so that they can enhance on what they need to do to make this world a better place and the humans that live in it. Between them worlds, there are those that are believed to be what you would call hybrid, or as other people would say, star children, star seeds, whatever. Okay, these are people that are believed to be of both worlds, this world and the extraterrestrial world. Okay, and they come down here for many different reasons, and I believe that these are experiences continue to experience these situations and these abductions for reasons to being connected to them. But for those that are not so known to be connected to the alien race, even though you are, you still go through alien abduction as well, due to the very facts of they are trying to plan and work out who we are in a larger way. They formed us to be a certain way. They perceived us to be a certain way, and we've gone off of that road and we're going to something completely different. And now it seems that they are starting to step in. There seems to be a lot more of these abductions happening. There seems to be a lot more stories coming from people that have had experiences to do with the extraterrestrial. And these tests, even though to some people it can be rather traumatic and they don't understand, the reasons that I believe that they do this is so that they can take these samples, take these tissues, take this blood from us, so that they can enhance and bring a better scenario in who we are. I believe that they're also doing this because they're trying to prepare us for things as well. I'm one of these that believe very much so that we come from an extraterrestrial realm and an extraterrestrial world, just as the spirit world as well. I believe that we've been many things and many beings. And I personally, like recently in the last God knows how many months, found out that I've got a lot more of a bigger connection to the extraterrestrials than I imagined. Being able to communicate with them and going through an abduction experience, which I do not remember, which is why this regression therapy would be a good thing for a lot of people. But I have noticed that since being with Dakota and meeting other people such as Tim from UFO Man and things like that, I have started to open myself a lot more to the realities of my abductions. I'm starting to remember little things about it. I don't remember or recall there ever being anything that was unpleasant. And for me, it was a very educational visit. Each time I've been took up there, I've been shown different areas, different places. There's things that they're wanting me to understand and to learn. And I believe that that is because I am part of them and because I'm supposed to be a star child, star seed. And even though experiments and stuff were done, I don't ever remember them being horrible. or uncomfortable. Weirdly, I felt very comfortable and very at home being in this place. I admit there's been a couple of experiences that I've had through meeting them that have been pretty scary and didn't end too well, but most of them have been really, really amazing experiences. But I'm not fully open and fully there to what actually fully happened to me. So I can't say 100% that everything that I experienced up there was of a positive vibe, because I'm not at that level where I remember everything. And up till a few months ago, I didn't remember anything about my abduction, only seeing the object and the craft above the car, remembering losing that time and seeing that light, and then being up at another end of a road, which there's no way we could have got there. That is the only thing that we recall or remember. As I said, I have started to open, and I do remember certain rooms and certain places that I went into, because when I've been going up there recently, it's become something that's familiar to me. It's somewhere that I'd already visited prior, before being able to communicate with them. And I'm starting to see that. And dreams and stuff are most definitely bringing it out. So for people that are being abducted and stuff and having these experiments done on them, it is normally just to perceive, our database about us, to overcome things that we're facing. They're trying to help us to overcome those things. They're trying to change our way of thinking, our way of being, I guess. And for some of them, it's being intrigued and wanting to understand more, and trying to bring others over to them, trying to show them that, we're all linked in a very, very big way. And I believe that through them doing these abductions and doing these experiments and people having these experiences, it is bringing that community out there more on the UFO side, which is what we need. So even though I do this show and I do a lot of educational shows and I talk about a lot of things, I do want these shows to also be for people to have that opportunity to be able to come out and talk about their experiences. Maybe you're a first time comer that hasn't spoke about your experiences before, and you want to get it out there and you want to be part of people that can understand what you're going through. Well, Bald and Bonkers network is most definitely one of the places for you to come to. There's some amazing networks as well that I've mentioned on this site that have got people that are very much into the ufology and stuff as well. So don't stand there and be alone and feel that you can't be open about what's happened to you and that you can't be yourself if you say what's happened to you, because you can, and you can still go on with life. Okay, so I'm going to now get into the abduction encounters of regression therapy and hypnotherapy. And it says, have I been abducted by aliens? Aliens or ET abduction starts often when a person is very young. Some call this close encounters, or the fourth kind, CEIV. Even though there might be an agreement of doing this on another level, the experience itself may still be very unusual and even scary to the person when it happens, because the physical mind can't make sense of it. Forgetfulness is part of the game. The experience begins most often when the person is at home in bed, and most often at night. Though sometimes abductions occur from a car or outdoors. There is an intense blue or white light and a buzzing of humming sounds, anxiety or fear, and those senses of an unexplained presence. A craft with flashing lights is seen and the person is transported or floated into it. Dash, please stop. Once inside the craft, the person may be subjected to the various medical procedures, often involving the removal of eggs or sperm and the implications of a small object in the nose or elsewhere. Communication with the aliens is usually by telepathy. The abductee feels helpless and is often restrained or part is either restrained or partly or completely paralyzed. In hypnosis, some of these experiences recalls a very clear and personal with great and extremely disruptive detail. Others may only have a general sense. Many cases are what one might describe as grey, about 4 feet high, with a slender body and a neck, a large head, and huge black slanted almond-shaped eyes. They are reported to do examinations extracting female eggs and male sperm, inserting implants and conducting physical healing. How do you know you may have been abducted? Besides the sense of dream or UFOs or aliens, if you have the following signs of symptoms, you may have been contacted. Missing time. This is one of the most telling signs. Sleep disorder. This might be your subconscious way to protect you. Waking up during the night or in the morning with unusual bodily sensations such as tingling, numbness, dizziness, heaviness, and paralysis, complained by disorientation. Nightmares and other dreams of UFOs and of aliens, unexplained physical marks, scratches, scrapes, fine red lines, little scooped out marks, bruises, unexplained healing. A sunflower shaped bump under the skin. It moves around when touched. This indicates an implant. It may have no sensation, however, when activated, it may tingle or buzz. What types of ETs and aliens are there? Okay, we're going through everything here. As we said earlier, the typical ones are grey. During my clients' work, I've also met with many clients, mantis types, insectoid, pure white, very tall and thin, a reptilian type. There are many different kinds of ETs with different agendas. It's true that some reptilian creatures fear anger and chaos in us. They feed on those. I have encountered more than one in regression work. Here's one client's case file releasing reptilian entity. For most people, all they remember is the experience, is the fear and the pain, which can easily be reflected in our movies and TVs. The same way our medias portray wild animals and brutal and human-eating savages. With memory recalls and the help of conscious understanding, one can realize there is no need to harbor unconscious fear and pain. In the experience trauma. In my hypnotherapy regression work, very rarely the abductees are perceived benign. Oftentimes, abductees feel that their interaction with the greys are simply bad. Those are a lot of people, though a lot of people would come to see me describing that as a traumatic experience. With further communication, it seems to me, however, greys simply do not know how to interact with the emotional, complex human beings. They do not see their activities in the negative light that we associate with captured guinea pigs used for experimentation. The greys themselves seem to lack emotional and flexibility, so it's possible that they treat humans in a way comparable to how they treat themselves. Find out if you have hybrid children. Another way hypnotherapy can help. One is to find out if you have hybrid children, which is often a result of abduction. The hybridization project, mainly done by Greys, have been going on for a few decades now. It all had to do with their planet Earth in another parallel reality being destroyed because they had developed so much in technology and in intellect that they have bred out all of the emotional capacities, and those lost reproducibility the hybrid children raised on the crafts may come to contact. But may come to contact us during our dreams or when we are in an altered state, such as hypnosis. The more we become who we really are, the easier it is to allow the contact to happen. After all, they are our children. Some of us do have the senses of something more is going on than our ordinary life. Some only remember a few moments at the beginning or an experience, yet our soul retains all of the memories. It's up to us to access them. Playing heart connecting games is a way to play with your ET kids. Eventually, these hybrids are bred with another human till they are human enough to live on Earth. I have many clients tell me that a few decades from now, our Earth will have many of them living among us. Typically, characteristics of human hybrids, depending on which ET species a hybrid is part of, they normally have the following characteristics: body type, some different ingredient and different component, low blood pressure, low temperature, body temperature, head is a little larger, eyes are bright and sparkling with colourful irises, body is small, not a lot of change in expression. One origin may not be where a usual no, one organ may not be where a organ usually is, an extra rib, an extra toe, or a fewer toes and fingers, very small, smart and quick brain power, intuitive and physic, with heightened senses, a sense of a mission that they are called to do. Shapeshifters, they can change face, skin textures, pupil vertical slits, hypnotherapy and how it can help with abduction. Are these experiences real or imaginations? As a hypnotherapist, I don't know. What I know is, even though it's it's imagination, it has to come from somewhere. And why would imagination not be real? What's important is that from many cases that I work with, it seems to help with the individuals resolving deep seated fears, and as a result, lose weight and get happier in their life. Though regression analytics and hypnotherapy works on the unconscious mind and helps to recover lost and suppressed memories, often in very good detail, this in itself can give an individual much greater insight into their personal experiences of their life journey. So far they're explaining about how this therapy, this regression therapy, this hypnotherapy is a way that will help to come into the abductee's mind and help them to recall and to remember these situations that they were in when they were abducted. It's also explaining that they believe that a lot of these alien species, when they take us, are taking us because they're wanting to understand us. They're wanting to take, as I said, samples from us, so that they can understand us more, so that they can make their own children. Because obviously sometimes in some of their populations, the number of them are decreasing, okay, due to different situations and different reasons. So they're using our blood, our DNA and all that to be able to symbolize into making these hybrids, because we are connected to them and we are part of them. And I do believe that they are our creators. We were just created to be different in this world and to be and act in a different way. But sadly, we're not doing the procedure to the way that they want. So they're having to step back and they're having to do these experiments. They're having to bring themselves out to us to help, to bring other beings, so that one day, as it said here, they can come back and be here as well and be among us. Now, a lot of us already hear things and know things, that there already are species of alien, ET, extraterrestrial, that are already here on this earth. And there are some that have been visiting here for many, many thousands of years. Okay. But there are those out there that still visit, but they don't come very often. Greys are always portrayed to being very evil and very dangerous, and believe me, that some of them really are, but some of them are not, and they're just inquisitive, that they want to understand us, they want to know us, they want to understand how we act different to them, even though we're formed by them, sort of thing. This is what this is trying to say, and this is what this lady that is a hypnotherapist and a regression therapist is explaining, that through a lot of her alien abductees that she's got to meet and work with, she's seen a lot of this, that they're meant to be coming back, that we're meant to be part of a hybrid project, that there are hybrid among us. And as it's explaining, what happens is when you become hybrid, you would be up there, and they want you to be able to portray and live here on earth, to bring out the goodness and to bring out the things that they're wanting you to do. So they have to prepare your body and prepare you for who that is. So this is why they take human women and impregnate them, by taking the man's sperm, taking their sperm, impregnating that woman. I was watching this program the other day on the internet, where it was explaining that normally an extraterrestrial, when they come into contact with a female and they impregnate a female, she is normally only pregnant for 2 months. And then what happens is it will look like she's either had a miscarriage or the baby has suddenly disappeared. Some women have experienced getting very large bellies, but nothing is able to be seen in there. This is that child in there. Some pregnancies do show up, but then the pregnancy disappears. This is because the extraterrestrial child, the hybrid child, has reached the purity time that the extraterrestrials can actually come in to contact with this female, re-abduct her, so that they can remove this fetus. And later on in life, when the lady has come to terms with what's happened, somehow this communication with mother and child is still able to be apparent, and you can still make communication with your children through regression, through meditation. For some, that it comes easily because they're already open. There's been a lot of women in this world that have explained that when they've gone through these abductions, they found out that they've been pregnant, and then a couple of months later they find out that the baby's not there anymore, the baby's disappeared. There is also meant to be a twin theory as well, that sometimes when a pregnant mother is carrying human twins, one of the twins sometimes suddenly passes away or disappears, and you can't see that twin anymore. They say that this could be linked to extraterrestrial abduction as well, that one twin is left with mother and one twin is removed and put up there with them. It's said that the hybrids are kept on spaceships because they're not able to breathe in the air and the way that the extraterrestrials do. They have to build that child's immune system up to be able to live in that plane. So for many, many years, this extraterrestrial child will be living on a spaceship among these alien beings. And in this time, it has been known that mothers are took back there because it helps on the rebirth and it helps on the growth of that hybrid child. Okay, it keeps that connection, it keeps that importance, because that child, even though it is with a completely different looking person to what it used to be inside of, that child knows that the parent is not them, it's somebody from somewhere else. So the alien ETs, whatever you like to call them, very often will bring the mother into the equation with the children to help with their growth, to help with how they mature. And through doing this, this helps this child to adapt to its environment, and then it's able to live among the alien life forms. So even though they are extraterrestrial, they are also of a human child. They were started out as a human child and was taken so that they could become one of them. And normally a lot of these hybrid children that are given to certain mothers that are human, in fact, shows that some of these mothers are actually in fact connected to the alien realms, that there are a characteristic that links them, a bloodline that maybe links them. So there are certain energies and certain women in the human form that they will go for and impregnate. As I said, whether this is removing a child from somebody that has been two humans forming children, or if this is them informing and implanting information into our mind to ready us for that sort of thing. And then obviously these extraterrestrials will then step in and do their own experiments to make their own children as well. So doing things such as inserting sperm and inserting eggs into the female through using the admin and stuff like that. They do a lot of very complex work, and not all of the breeds of the extraterrestrial children can be formed up there. Some of them do need to be done through what you would class as a human body, okay, a female human body. And I find that very interesting. And I was watching a program, like I said yesterday as well, where they were explaining about this and how these extraterrestrial children come about and how it can happen. And I found it very, very interesting. Hypnotherapy is an excellent way of working through these experiences in a safe and secure environment. Have a close look at the experience. If you believe you have had a close encounter of an abduction experience, then maybe people like this lady that's speaking here can help you, one of these therapists. As a time-space traveling hypnotherapist, there is nowhere I'm unwilling to go, because in my professional practice, there is no fear of the unknown, only curiosity. Fear doesn't exist, but in our imagination, because of misunderstanding or lack of information, human minds associate what's unknown to fear. Therefore, bringing truth to any situation is the way to freedom. When is the best time to seek help when you've gone through these situations? People with this type of experience, they have a lot to think and a lot to deal with. First, of course, you want to know. You want to know what has really happened and what was or maybe still is going on. The piece of memories or flashbacks have been bugging you for a while. The anxiety and other weird feelings have started to impact your daily life at work. And you can talk as much as you want with your friends and your family. They will probably think that you are crazy. and you'll research and you'll feel that you can use some help in hypnosis, because if these kinds of weird things dared to happen, you should dare to know, right? But wait, will knowing make it worse? Maybe it's more scary to know than not to know. Maybe on the second thought, you are better off not knowing what happened. After working with many people in person and over Skype, I can confidently say this can only get better after you deal with it. The unknown is the most scary part. As long as it remains unknown, it has power over you. Bringing to the conscious awareness with the help of a caring professional always opens up the broader sense of understanding, therefore, peace. Please notice everything you say is true for me. She's saying that, like, in this bit, she goes into how when she speaks to her people, she looks at that what they're saying to her is true. She goes in a way that she's trying to understand where they're coming from, and through doing this, she's had a lot of experiences that she cannot explain, and she's seen and she's been part of places and situations that are just not known to the human mind. Okay, so here she puts, please notice everything you say is true for me, as I fully understand it. It is true in your experience, and I automatically take whatever you say as full honesty. You do not need to convince me that your experience was true for this to work, and I do not judge anybody. My job is to facultate memory recall in the most truthful way. I do not have any bias towards any belief system. So if you'd like to come to terms with your experience, email me today. That Skype sessions are possible and can be as effective as in-person sessions. Or you can use the following calendar links to schedule time. Part 2. According to the Journalist of America culture, most people claiming to have experienced alien abduction report traumatic alien invasion investigations and investigations of their bodies. Barbito 202, as with any other trauma, alien abduction can cause several emotional shocks in the victim and have long-lasting physical effects such as post-traumatic stress disorder and post-abduction syndrome. Nelson, various methods of treatment can help a suffering alien abductee to overcome or cope with these problems. These methods include support groups, physiotherapy, hypnotherapy, and even simple humor. Betty and Barney Hill were the first recorded alien abductees to seek treatment after their abduction. Despite widespread skepticism towards alien abductees, there are some physiatric professionals, as well as those practicing under the often self-bestowed title UFO investigator, who believe that there is a need to treat UFO patients with the same standards and practices as anyone reporting emotional distress or trauma. Some mental health professionals are now arguing that physiotherapists should be educated about the UFO abduction phenomena so that they will recognize the symptoms and be able to help the victim. Newman and Bumbista 100. Post-traumatic stress disorder, often referred to as PTSD, which is what I suffer from, is an anxiety disorder. PTSD is caused by major personal stress or serious or frightening events. Post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms of this disorder include images of memories of events, nightmares, or even of the event, insomnia, sense of isolation, sense of guilt, irritability, loss of concentration, and depression. These symptoms are only considered to be contributing to the chronic PTSD if they have lasted over 3 months after the traumatizing event, such as an abduction by aliens, or if the symptoms have delayed onset. PTSD is the only disorder of the two listed previously as occurring in traumatic alien abductions that is recognized by the American Physiatric Association, ASA, and Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, DSM. Post traumatic stress disorder is also sometimes referred to as post traumatic stress syndrome. Many alien abductees experience these disorders, according to Dr. David Gottlieb, a prominent physicist is the UFO subculture. Post-abduction syndrome. Post-abduction syndrome, or PAS, is an anxiety disorder that has many similarities to the post-traumatic stress disorder. It differs, however, in that the traumatic event, alien abduction, may occur more than once in an individual's lifetime, making it difficult to pinpoint when the trauma began. The syndrome is not firmly recognized by the ASA. It was first defined by Bud Hopkins, a prominent alien abductee researcher, in his book Missing Time and Intruders. PAS specifically defines the cluster of symptoms and behaviors that develop in some individuals in responses to the alien abduction phenomenon. These symptoms include persistent re-experiencing of the traumatic event, characterized by flashbacks, persistent avoidance of um, stimuli associated with the trauma, denial of the event, labeling the event as something else, probic advance of areas or situations where contact occurred, refraining from sleep at the time contact occurred, emotional reaction to literature, pictures, or videos about alien entities, numbing of emotions characterized by inability to feel intimacy, pleasure, or to express emotion, diminished interest in previously enjoyed activities, may have no expectation of normal life events or normal lifespan, may fear abduction with no return of a lengthy abduction, hypervigilance, exaggerated startle response, irritability, and or panic attacks. Post-abduction syndrome may not only affect the abductees themselves, but can also affect witnesses to the abduction, family members, or other closely associated with the abductee. The traditional definition of the support group is a group of people with common experiences and encounters and concerns. In this case, abductions by aliens and the resulting complications, who provide emotional and mortal support for one another. One purpose of abductee support groups specifically is to attempt to help people to recover repressed memories of visualization at the hands of the extraterrestrials. Beginning in the mid 1980s, a increasing number of supported groups appeared that were centered around the alien abductees and their experiences. Many alien abductions support groups are currently in existence, located mainly in the United States, but with some located in other countries such as Canada, Australia. One settle-based abductive support group, UFO Contract Center International, has affiliated centers located through the United States and Canada, now numbering over 30 borders. A survey done in 1990 of 55 alien abductees involved in a support group reported that most participants in alien abduction support groups were white married females with some college education. However, this may not be a large enough sample group to actively represent the alien abductees involved in the support groups. Support groups for alien abductees are commonplaces and can be easily contacted through their websites. The following link provides a list of 15 support groups for the aliens abductees. So, physiotherapy. Physiotherapy is any form of treatment for physiology, emotional, or behavior disorder in which a trained person establishes a relationship with one or several patients for the purpose of modifying or removing existing symptoms and prompting personal growth. Psychotherapy is also sometimes simply referred to as counseling. For an alien abductee, this provides an environment where they feel they can be open and talk about their experiences without the fear of ridicule. Hypotherapy. Most alien abductees recall their abductions through hypotherapists. Because of this, the vast majority of evidence for alien abductees is based on memories recovered through hypnosis. Hypnosis is the weakening of both emotional experiences and behavior. In other words, emotional numbing. Sebastiani et A1 thought for a time that they may have forgotten. Some abductees find clues to what happened, such as symptoms of PAS or PTSD or missing time, that lead them to seek a hypnosis to help them discover if their hunch is the real deal. The use of hypnosis to recall repressed memories is a highly controversial issue. Many well-known alien abductees experts have every confidence in this method of memory recall. Long-time abductees researchers Bud Hopkins argue that memories recovered under hypnosis have usually validated that it is even better than ordinary memory. David Jacobs, another well-known researcher, believes that memories derived by hypnotical are even more reliable than those recalled outside of the hypnotic state. Jacobs also states, however, that anyone could be a researcher or hypnosis just by proclaiming it, due to the fact that there is no systematic training for those interested in this line of memory recovery. Alien, alien abduction narratives are frequently attributed to the creation of a false memory. Lynn and Kursich, included under hypnosis. Steve J. Lynn of Ohio University and Ivan Kursich of the University of Connecticut assert the false memories are created through the following 7 steps. A person is predisposed to accept the idea that certain puzzling or incompatible experiences might be a telltale sign of UFO abduction. The person seeks out a therapist whom he or she views as an authority and who is, and at the very least, receptive to these explanations and have some prior familiarity with UFO abduction reports. Alternatively, the therapist framed the puzzling experiences in terms of an abduction narrative. Alternative explanation of experiences are not explored. There is increasing commitment to the abduction explanation and increasing anxiety reduction associated with ambiguity reduction. The therapist legitimizes or ratifies the abduction experience with constitute an additional positive reinforcement. The client adapts the role of the victim or the abductees, which becomes intrigued into the physiotherapy and the client's views of self. Humor and healing is also another association that is very good for those that have been through this. While humor cannot reduce the significance of the terrible event, it does allow the survivor of the traumatic event to see how they can cope and thrive in their environment. Humor can be a powerful healing tool when both the therapist and the client are willing to openly discuss it. According to Evan R. Smith, founder of the Close Encounters Research Organization, humor has been very healing for those people who have had encounters. The key to this unique brand of humor is to see the humorous side of the phenomena without making fun of the science or the victim. So obviously with like the regression and with the hypnotherapy, a lot of it is about helping these victims to come to terms with the encounters that they endured through the extraterrestrial abduction, helping them to also recall and remember some of the memories that they have lost, because in a lot of alien abductions, a lot of people recall losing a lot of the memory of what happened to them, because it's said that extraterrestrial beings will sometimes make you forget certain areas of that abduction that they done for many reasons. It could be to protect them, protect you. It may be that it'd be too overwhelming for that person at that time to endure that. So for that reason, when this abduction happens, a lot of what happens to that person is forgotten, but they remember the seeing the object and being took, seeing the light. Where others do remember what happened when they were inside the spaceship or in the craft and when they were seeing these beings. Some of them do remember, some of us don't. It depends very much so on the experience of that time. Okay. Now, for me, I've always found myself sitting here and wondering why I was made to forget quite a lot of what I had gone through and why I don't remember a lot of what happened when I was abducted. And but at the same time, I can recall it because I have questioned myself and I have worried, and sometimes it puts you into that place where you think that you're going crazy. You question yourself and you ask how these things can happen. Now, I've always been somebody that very much believes in aliens, but I've always been somebody that was very skeptical when it comes to the alien abduction side of it. Okay. Now, I've read stories that I did believe in, but I didn't believe that it could just happen to anyone. And then when I had my first experience, it was very bizarre because I didn't remember a lot of it. I only remember seeing the craft and where I ended after that, and the fact that I'd lost so much time that I don't recall anything. And as I said, going through being with Chris and Dakota and going through meeting people like Tim from UFO Man, I've been able to find a lot more answers to what happened to me. Like I said, I've been able to go into certain rooms and I knew that I'd seen that room at that time of that abduction because the memories are starting to come back. I am starting to open up to what happened to me. But I have also had a couple of experiences that weren't so nice through doing this as well, where I ended up in somewhere quite dark, where dark energies were trying to overcome and trying to do whatever they wanted to do to me. So I have had a couple of like scary experiences through trying to find myself, but a lot of it has been pleasant. And through being who I am and meeting the people that I have met, I've learned so much more about my side as well, and learned so much more about who I actually really am. And when I read this article, I could relate to a lot of it, even to the extent of these poor women that become impregnated by them, or impregnated and a baby is removed and things. Because I've had some strange situations where I've been pregnant in the past, a long time ago, and I had my belly. I was confirmed as being pregnant, but then when I went for my last scan, the baby was no longer there. The baby had gone. I've had experiences where strange things have happened to me and I can't really understand it. And that's why I think this sort of thing is really good. Even though I'm not having the regression and the hypnotherapy, I am kind of having that through learning and seeing other people, okay, and understanding their way. And through learning from them and through educating and through doing this work, it's opening me to that side more. And I've become a lot more acceptance of who I am. I'm comfortable and happy to communicate with the extraterrestrial spirits now. I'm not so uncomfortable about having these experiences where I am taken anymore. These all feel very familiar to me. And as I said to you at the beginning of the show, I intend to like those experiences and I feel that I belong when these things happen. And I'm sure, as I've said to you, there are many people out there that have had abduction experiences and have had experiences in many different ways, some of them pleasant and some of them not so much. If you are somebody that's gone through a traumatic situation like this where you believe you've been abducted and things like that, and you're not quite sure because you don't remember a lot, then hypnotherapy and regression therapies and things like that would be a very good way for you to be able to come forward and to maybe find out some of these memories and try to find out a little bit into what actually happened to you. Because if you have been abducted by aliens, 9 times out of 10, they don't like you to remember your experiences. They don't like you to remember everything about your experience. They will take certain parts of that away from you for reasons. So through doing this therapy, that will help you to open that. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go there the first day and it's going to happen. It takes a number of months, weeks for some, even longer than that sometimes. It really does depend on the person and the experience, and how much they want to find out what's happened to them as well, because that plays a big part in it also. So, you know, telepathy, these sort of ways to be experimented on to help you to come to play and to come to terms with what happened to you is a very powerful way. It can be very traumatic, but that traumatic feeling and emotion that you feel will one day turn into something that you will be grateful that you know. Okay. Now, when you have memories that are supposed to not be of something normal, it can be very difficult to be able to absorb that and to accept that. So, with these sort of therapies, that will help you to accept what happened to you. It will help you to understand a little bit more about what happened to you. It will open the picture to you on what actually happened in that situation. It should bring out things like what these beings done to you. You may even see what the beings looked like. You'll get information through having these therapies that will be relayed back to you, that will help you as that person that's gone through that to be able to recall your situation, to accept it, and to be able to move through life. Okay, because like any traumatic situation, as it explained in that article, it's very hard to move on with your life and to make an understanding of your life if there is so much of it that you don't understand and so much is missing. So, if you are one of these people that believe that you've been abducted and you're going through situations that you can't get yourself out of, and it's a situation you'll find it very difficult to understand or to bind with, then maybe these sessions would be really good for you. There, like it said, there are lots of places online that you can look up for this. There are groups that you can go to as well. But just remember that you are important and your life is important. And, understanding and respect goes a long way. I'm not the sort of person that when somebody's going to turn around and say, right, I've had an alien experience, so I'm not going to question them and put them down and say I don't believe in that, because I know in myself what it's like to go through that, because I've been through that myself. And I've had people look at me back and judge me and stuff like that when they don't know and stuff. But the most important thing in this is knowing that you've got people behind you that do support you and do believe you, because I believe in this world that people shouldn't be so quick to judge people because of what they can do and who they are, because every person is different. Every person works and acts differently. Everybody communicates differently. That doesn't make us any less of a person. And you being an alien abducted does not make you the odd one out. It doesn't make you weird. It's part of life. These beings are part of us and have been part of us for thousands of years. They are very much involved with us. It's just some of the people out there find it very hard to get their head around that, okay? But don't be ashamed or feel the fear to open up to who you are and what's happened to you, because in my opinion, being somebody that's gone through what I've gone through and a lot of others have gone through, this is one of the most amazing experiences and topics for me to be involved in. I absolutely love my ufology just like I do my paranormal, and I'm seeking through the ufology for the same reason as I'm seeking through my paranormal, because of my experiences, because of the things that have happened to me. I don't sit here and pretend that I know everything, but I will speak to you openly about the things I do understand. If there are things that I don't understand or don't quite know about, I'll do research like this. And I believe the more information and the more fact, the better. Okay, because even though these shows are to entertain you, these shows are also to reach out to other people that may be going through similar situations. So you don't have to suffer alone. Even if you don't feel comfortable with going to these groups and stuff, you've got people like us in these communities that you can come and talk to and open yourself to. And maybe over time, you'll be able to come to accept what happened to you and see that it's not such a bad thing. And, these experiments, these abductions, these things happen for a reason. And we are more linked than you think. So, does anybody have anything that they want to say about the show, guys? That is the end of my reading and stuff. So if there is anyone that wants to say anything, or did you please say? Like I said, I am no professional in regression and stuff like that. It's very much a puzzle to me still as well. And there's still so much of the aspects of what happened to me that I'm still learning about as well, guys. But I will try to bring you the best that I can and truthful stuff. So we can all learn and build together. Hello, Black Dragon. How are you? Let me just call out to everybody in the room. So we have got Greenie Page. Welcome. Dobby Socks. I do need to sort the fire alarm. At the minute, I've been waiting for the housing people to sort it out. We've got Bald and Bonkers Chris. We've got Dobbies. We've got Black Dragon. Hello, everybody that came in the room. Thank you for coming and supporting me tonight, guys. It does mean a lot for you to support me like this. Obviously, as well, as I said, I am part of a lot of the I'm not going to whack it, because if it goes off completely, then if something does happen in the house, it's not gonna work at all. At the minute, it's not got no red light on it. It's still showing green. So it's still working. It's just going down. But I have contacted my housing people. So hopefully soon they're going to get that sorted out, because I don't like having a fire alarm that doesn't work. I'm really funny about safety and things like that. I get a bit freaked out. So hopefully they're going to sort that out soon. But I do appreciate you all coming in, guys. And remember, I mentioned all of the companies and networks that I'm part of at the beginning of the show. You guys can come over and support on those networks as well. These guys are absolutely awesome. They're helping people to get out there in the work that they love. So yes, a lot of us do associate around the strange and the unknown, but we are also opening our networks to be able to help other people with other interests. So if you're a magician, or you're a comedy, food, talk shows, whatever it is, we support everybody. So please come over. So I just want to do a big shout out again to Bald and Bonkers, Chris and Dakota. Thank you. That's our amazing management under the company. A big shout out to DNTV, Parapost, Global, PD, and all of those amazing networks that are streaming us out. Also, a big shout out to all of our TV people and all of our support and sponsors that are behind us and helping us to be able to do what we love and to be able to keep doing the shows to entertain you guys. So a big shout out to all of you, and obviously to all of my people that have come in tonight and watched my show and have supported me as well. I appreciate all of you, and thank you so much. So I don't see anybody writing any questions and stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wish you all a very pleasant evening and a safe evening. And I hope that you all sleep very well. And I hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. And thank you for tuning in and for joining me to talk about the experiment to do with alien abductees and how aliens do their tests as well. I hope that you did enjoy that and you found this educational. I have got the details to the writing that I had got through research. I will post that out onto the Bald and Bonker page and onto my pages as well. So please keep an eye out for that so you can read it, because obviously anybody that knows me by now knows I'm dyslexic and sometimes I do struggle with some of the words. So I do like to make sure that I write all my stuff down so you understand what I'm talking about. And I like you to see the research that I've got from people that I believe in and people that I believe really explain things in a really good way. So a good night to you all, my sweethearts. Thank you for coming in. Lots of love, light and blessings. and a merry parting, and I will see you very, very soon.
1